Alright, I'm going to be doing a solo run-through of Nemesis, new game from Awakened Realms. This is going to be my first playthrough of this game, so there will be a lot of rules referencing and probably some mistakes. I have set the game up for a... well, there's not really a different setup for a varying number of players. So it's set up as you would set the game up. Everybody is going to start in the hibernatorium, essentially where you come out of the deep sleep. So the backstory is you're essentially on this ship. You've been woken up and you've got to figure out what's going on. You're going to have a couple of objectives that are going to be kept secret from all other players. Since I'm playing solo, I actually only have two, the two objectives I have are right here. I'll get this to focus a little bit. Wow, it's not focusing. There we go. So these are the two objectives that I have right now. One says that I have to finish the game in an escape pod or in hibernation with an intruder egg. So the enemies, the aliens in the game, are called intruders. And then the other one says I have to place the blue character corpse object, which starts there in the hibernatorium with me, in the surgery room. So I have to complete one of these. Essentially, when you're playing the game, the first time an intruder figure comes out onto the board, everybody's gonna have their two objectives. In a non-solo game, each player is going to have a personal objective and then a corporate objective. At the time that an intruder miniature comes out on the board, the very first time, each player has to decide which objective they're going to keep and which they're going to abandon and not go for. I'm going to have to do the same with these two, but that's a reason that you would want to keep them secret from other players, because this is a semi-cooperative game, so you're not necessarily all going to win, but you may have to work together so that some of you can win. You'll see that all the room tiles are actually flipped over. I have to explore them. They also have this little question mark encounter token on top. That's going to tell me how many items are in the room when it gets flipped over, as well as any status effects like slime or alien attacks, etc. Over here is the bridge, navigation room, whatever you want to call it. There are 4 different slots there, A, B, C, and D. Each game, slot B is the chosen coordinates. There's also a coordinates card right above it that has A, B, and C listed, as well as which coordinate, like Earth, Mars, etc., where those coordinates are. So your objective may be that you have to get the ship back to Earth. So you're going to want to go to the bridge, take a bridge action to look at the coordinates. You would flip the coordinates card over just for yourself, so you could see what it is, and then that way you know which coordinates are which, and then you can change the coordinates accordingly. Now, somebody else might have an objective that they have to get the ship to Mars, so you might be fighting back and forth with people. You do not have to tell the truth in this game. You can lie to your fellow players. So, if, for instance, I went there and I needed to change it to go to Mars, but somebody had casually mentioned earlier that they needed to get it to Earth, I might, say, hey, yeah, I switched it to go to Earth. You don't have to worry about going all the way up there to the bridge. I got that covered. Now whether they want to believe me or not, that's up to them. But There's also 2 escape pods. So there's an escape pod here and an escape pod over there. With 1 player, there's only 2. The varying number of players actually will change how many escape pods are out. Each escape pod starts locked, and once they become unlocked through there's various different things that can cause them to become unlocked. They will fit 2 players apiece. So when you enter an escape pod, you have to make a decision. You can launch it right then and there, at which point you're out of the game, but you may have succeeded in your objective, or you can wait for another player. If you're waiting on somebody to meet you there, so you can both escape, then you can wait. But as soon as you enter an escape pod, you are basically your turn is passed. So you're not going to kind of be able to launch at a later date. If you're going to wait, then you're waiting until that person gets there, or you're waiting until the next round where you can take another turn. You'll see, or you may not, yeah, you can see, the corridors here connect all these rooms. The corridors are not actually tiles that you will be moving to. You're actually going to be just moving to the rooms. The corridors basically are just connection points to show you where you can move room to room. So if I would move one, like if I would go to here, I would not have to stop here as one movement and then move an additional movement to get into the room. It's just one move here, and I can do that because it's connected via a corridor. There are numbers on each of these corridors, so 1 through 4 essentially. When you make a noise roll, when you explore a room, if it is not occupied by an alien or another player, you have to make a noise roll, and we will roll the noise dice, and then, or the noise die rather, and then whatever number comes up is where we're going to put a noise token. If you ever make a noise check or make a noise roll, and it comes up with, let's say it comes up with 3, but there's already a noise token in 3 here, then an encounter is going to happen. It's going to spawn an alien, and then it may attack us, it may not. We just have to wait and see what the cards are revealed are. We talked about the hibernatorium. This is where you would go to hibernate if that's one of your objectives. I actually have that objective. Sorry for bumping the camera there. Then we have 3 different engine bays, or engine rooms, I guess. There are 2 tokens for each engine. One token says it's malfunctioned, or I forget what the term is. The other one says it's green, it's good to go. So when you go to check victory conditions to see if you succeeded, this is one of the things you have to check. 2 of these engines have to be green and good to go. The third one can be down. If 2 are down or all 3 are down, the ship explodes when it tries to jump to whatever coordinates it's going to jump to. There will be fire tokens that are going out. Different events will cause fire across the ship. If we ever have to place a fire token and there are no more available, then the ship explodes. Same thing with malfunction tokens. There's going to be something that might cause a malfunction token to go into one of these rooms. If there's a malfunction token in the room ability, each one of these rooms has its own special ability you can take on your turn. The room ability you cannot use until you repair that room, get rid of that malfunction. Again, if we have to place a malfunction token and there is not one available, the ship explodes. This is the time track. This basically at the end of each, we have 15 rounds essentially before Doomsday. Once we get into the blue, the pods will automatically unlock if they have not been unlocked already. This is the self-destruct timer over. You can't see it because there's a window. So over here is a self-destruct timer that you can activate in one of the rooms that will cause the ship to start self-destructing. Once it gets into the orange, there's no way to stop it. It's going to self-destruct when it gets to the last space. You also notice that some of these rooms have a little red dot. They have the number and a little red dot. Those are what are called technical corridors. They are essentially like the ductwork in between the ship. so you can't actually move through them. However, aliens can travel through them. But there is a technical corridor spot up there in the top left corner of the board where you could possibly place noise tokens to cause problems for other rooms. The vast, I don't know about the vast majority. Quite a few rooms have those technical corridors, so we'll get to that when we come to it. So here's my player board. The game also comes with these little card holders to slot your cards in. Because you're going to want to keep them hidden from other players. The only cards you cannot keep hidden are any heavy item cards. And that's this, for instance, this assault rifle. Let me just bring this up here. That's my starting weapon as the soldier. You'll notice in the top right there's a little gun icon, which means this can only be used in combat. Sometimes there's a circle through the gun, or like a knot symbol on top of the gun icon, which means it can only be used outside of combat. The fist holding a top, like the handle of a bag or strap of a bag, indicates this is a heavy object. Any heavy objects have to be public knowledge. So if you would ever to do a search and pick up a heavy object item, you have to show it to everybody. There you see there it says ammo 5 on the bottom of the card. That's how many times I can fire before I have to essentially recharge the weapon. It's an energy weapon. One of the rooms there will allow me to recharge the ammo. And then this particular weapon says each time I deal at least 1 injury, I deal an additional injury. And I'm going to stick that in my right hand. You can have you can carry 2 heavy objects, one in your right hand, one in your left hand. Other heavy objects are the player corpses. So this blue corpse is NPC corpse, but that would be a heavy object. If I were to pick it up, I would have to put it in my left hand here. There are also eggs, so I can find eggs. One of these rooms is a nest where I can go and actually pick up the invader eggs. That's one of the objectives. I have to get one of those back to, or intruder eggs, get one of those back to either escape pod or hibernation. That would be a heavy object. And there's a third heavy object that I cannot recall at the moment, but I'm sure I will come across it soon. Let's see, what else? So when you take, you have several different actions you can take on your turn. You're going to draw 5 cards into your hand at the start of your turn, and then those cards have actions on them. You can use those cards for their actions, or you can discard them to take basic actions and the careful movement action. So you can move, you can shoot, you can do a melee attack, you can pick up a heavy object, you can trade with anybody in the same room, or you can try to craft an item. Crafting menus over here. You can just combine different items you have to get one of the crafted items. That's generally a better item to have. We'll put status tokens over here if we get slimed, or if we send out the signal. Your deck of cards is going to be to the left of your player board, and then as you use them and discard them, they're going to go over here to the right of your player board. While they're in your hand, you can basically just line them up in your card holder there. When you take wounds, you will, if it's just an injury, if it says you're taking an injury, then you're going to take, you would take 1 light wound, and you take a second light wound. As soon as you take a third light wound, you're going to draw a serious wound card. There's a deck of these cards, and when you flip it over, it's going to, give you a different status effect that's really going to affect your character. Like maybe your arm's broken, you can only carry one heavy object now. So you might have to drop something. That type of thing. You can have 3 serious wounds, and as soon as you would go, I think it's 3. Let me look at that. I think it's 3, and then when you would take the 4th, you just die. Let me look that up real quick. by real quick, I mean slowly. Oh, okay. So they can have three. So you can have three. You can have three serious wounds, but when you would either then take an additional serious wound or just a light wound, you die, and from that point you're out of the game. There is a variant that allows you to, if you're playing with other players, they can come pick up your corpse, take you to the med bay, and essentially resurrect you. But in the standard game, you're basically out of the game at that point. So this game does have player elimination, but I would suspect that as soon as somebody dies, the game's going to end pretty quickly anyways, just given how hectic this thing seems to go. So we went through the basic actions there. Movement, you're going to move into a tile, you'll flip it over, you'll do the Explorer token, you're going to make a noise roll for movement, and whenever it is, that's where you're going to put your noise token. If instead you decide to do careful movement and discard 2 of your cards out of your 5-card hand, you still have to place a noise token, but you get to decide where it goes. So you don't actually make a roll, you're just going to decide to place 1 noise token down in a corridor connected to that room. It kind of saves you the chance of the roll, because the roll does have the numbers 1 through 4, but it also has an X, which means nothing happens unless we're slimed. If we're slimed, then we have an encounter, or it has the encounter symbol on it, which would force an encounter as well. The last 2 things these are 2. There's 2 of them here. These are quest cards. Each character has 2 of them. It tells you how many actions or how many cards you're gonna have to discard to do it, and what the rules are for it essentially. So you'll see this one says I have to activate this item in an armory room. If I get to the armory room and discard a card from my hand, I can activate this thing and I will flip it over and it will be available to me, whatever it does. Autoloader. I'm assuming it's gonna give me better. I don't know. Maybe it replenishes my ammo once a turn or something. I have not looked at it. So I guess the best thing to do at this point is to just get going. The other thing, and it's not on screen, let me see if I can get the camera over there, or at least point it in that direction. Yeah, you'll see there's the invader board, or the intruder board. That's where you would place all the eggs for the nest. So it starts out with 5. It gives you the symbols for each of the invaders in the bottom left, and then at the bottom, those are all the intruder weaknesses. Right now they are hidden, but if we were to take the character corpse, which is the blue one, to the research lab, I believe it is, and perform an action, then we can turn that over, and it gives us a weakness on the intruders. It gives us a little leg up on defeating them, but not too much from what I understand. There's 3 different intruder weaknesses per game, but there's a whole deck of intruder weaknesses that you just randomly shuffle and choose 3 out of to start with. So that's sitting over there. I'm going to try to move the camera around a little bit when I move to rooms and that type of stuff. There's 3 different decks of item cards. There's these infection cards, so if I get attacked or various things happen, I'm going to get infection cards that are going to go into my deck. Well, they're going to go into my discard pile, and then they get shuffled back into my deck. But at the end of the game, if I have a... you'll see here, I'll show you the back of these. They all have this little, like, red squiggly symbols, and there's a scanner card that has, like, the red film that I'm sure everybody's seen from way back in the day. You would slide the cards in, and there's going to be 4 lines of text. If one of those lines says infected, then you're infected with an alien and you die and you don't win. There are ways to go through and get rid of those cards. I'm sure we'll deal with that as I get to it. So let's get started here. So first thing I do is draw 5 cards from my deck. do kind of fit in there nicely, I guess. These are sleeved, so this is the deluxe version of the Kickstarter. I don't know if they came with thicker cards. The cards seemed thick, but I was able to, or I accidentally scratched the side of one of them and peeled back the printing on it. So that's why I decided to just sleeve these, but we'll see. I'm going to pull these out of here. So that you could just see, basically, this is how it would normally look. I can tilt this up a little bit there. You could hide them from your other players. So let's. I'm going to go ahead and pull these back off of here for right now, for the minute, so I can look at them. All right, I've got Nerves of Steel. Says discard this card during a surprise attack to ignore its effect. So if I were to have an encounter, there's a possibility that there will be a surprise attack. If that happens, I can discard this card and ignore that attack. You basically do not want to get attacked by the aliens in this game. This is not something that you're going to be able to go toe-to-toe with an alien against an alien and come out on top. You're going to be pretty hurt even if you end up killing one. This is more of like run away and try to outmaneuver the aliens. I also have Rest. It says scan all contamination cards, so that's the ones I just showed you a minute ago. Scan all contamination cards in your hand and remove all not infected cards. If any of the cards was infected, follow the infection procedure. That's detailed in the rule book here. I believe if I'm infected, if I scan it and find I'm infected, there is a token I place on my board here to indicate that, and then if I ever have to scan again and I come across another infected card, I die. It simulates the alien, bursting from my chest, etc. So that's Rest. I have Interruption. Discard this card to cancel any action performed by another player in the room you are in. The other player must still pay the action's cost. So this is a screw your friend card, basically, and I used friend in quotes. But this would stop another player in your room from taking whatever action they're trying to take, but they still have to pay the cost. So this is a pretty terrible card for whoever you're playing against. Or I can cancel an interruption action of another player. So if somebody tried to interrupt me, I could play the interruption to interrupt the interruption. I think that's how that would go. Then I have Basic Repairs. This is going to require me to discard 2 additional cards. So I would play this card and then have to discard 2 additional cards out of my hand. So 3 cards to do 1 action, basically. Probably only if I need to. But it allows me to discard a malfunction marker in the room, or I can repair or break the engine in the engine room I'm in. So, for instance, let's say one of the objectives I had was to make sure the ship blows up, right? So there's several ways I can do that. I can hit the self-destruct timer, and hopefully it gets into the orange, and then nobody can stop it. I can try to start fires all around the ship and hope that we get to the point where we have to start another fire and we don't have any tokens and the ship just blows up. Same thing with the malfunction tokens. I can try to break stuff in rooms or cause that to happen. Or I can cause 2 or all engines to malfunction so that at the end of the game, when we do the victory check, if there's 2 or more that are in malfunctioning, the ship blows up. So basically the top token is the current status of the engines. So at the start of the game, nobody knows what status the engines are in. So you're going to have to get here and look at these engines. Let's say I was trying to get the ship to blow up, but maybe I don't want to let the rest of my crewmates know that I'm going to do that. So what I would do is take these 2, look at them, and then place them back on top in the order that I want. Now I can lie to them. I can lie to my crewmates here and say, hey, yeah, I just fixed the engines. It was damaged, but now it's not. Even though maybe I left the malfunction one on top because You know, I don't want them to know that I'm trying to blow the ship up. Maybe one of them has already kind of alluded to having to survive or make it to Earth or something like that. You do have to tell them if you change the order, though. So if you take these off and it was green on top, you do have to tell them, yes, I changed the order, but you can lie and say, now it's a green on top, now it's good to go, even though it might not be. But you still have to tell them whether you changed the order of these to help them kind of deduce what actually happened. Then I also have the Taking Aim action card. It says perform a shoot action with my energy weapon. Then I can re-roll my first result on the combat die. You only roll one die for combat, and you're going to have to do a lot of damage to these aliens to kill them. So this is pretty powerful, I would suppose. Then I'm back to the Nerves of Steel card. Alright, so let's see here. Well, one of my actions is to place the blue character corpse object in the surgery room. Or I have to get an egg to either hibernation or escape pod. Well, here's what we're going to do. Since this interruption card is essentially worthless for me, I'll just show it here real quick. This is basically worthless because no other players are playing with me. I'm going to put this in my discard pile. I'm going to discard that to take a basic action of pick up a heavy object. So I'm going to pick up the corpse and put it in my left hand here. Or throw it over my left shoulder, I guess. Now on your turn, you take 2 actions. If you cannot take 2 actions, you can take 1 action and then pass, or you can just pass. Once you pass, you are out, aside from using an interruption card to affect other players in your tile. If there were multiple players, you basically, each player takes 2 actions, next player takes 2 actions, so forth and so on until everybody's passed. Then there's going to be sort of a invader phase, basically, where we do a little upkeep. Invaders have combat, etc. Or intruders. I don't know why I keep calling them invaders. And then we start the process all over again. So, second action. I think I need to check the status of the engines first, probably. I don't really care. My objectives, I don't have to get to a specific spot, or a specific coordinate, so I don't care about going to the bridge. I either have to place the character corpse object in the surgery room and then survive, or get an egg and get to a escape pod or back into the hibernation chamber. But with the engines, that's a check that has to be done. So we are going to, I don't really want to do this, but I have to. I'm going to discard the Taking Aim card to take another basic action of movement. I'm going to move my guy here. So, first thing we do is we flip this tile over. We have got the monitoring room. As an action here, I can discard 2 cards from my hand to check 1 room and an exploration token. So an unexplored room, it's basically, security system, basically. I check the cameras in a room, see what's there. I can flip them over and look at them. I'm going to keep that information secret. I'm not going to tell anybody else about that. Because I want to win, if I were playing with other people. Now, we look at the encounter token. So here, I'll pull this tile over here. You can kind of see what it looks like. The red background means any items that we search with that little symbol with the ammo there have to be drawn from the red item deck, which is like the weapons deck. The 2 there is how many cards I would have to discard to take the action. There's a little computer symbol, which means there is a computer in this room. Some cards will say, or allow you to do certain things if there's a computer in the room. The numbers are around the outside are sort of the counter for the room as to how many objects you've already searched. So we'll go ahead and put this back, and we're going to flip the encounter token over here. Bring it up here. So it says top number is 2. That means there's 2 items in this room that can be searched, and then the gear at the bottom is the malfunction token symbol. So I will put a malfunction token on this room, and I cannot use the ability of this room until I repair it. So how this works is, so 2. So right here is a little red arrow that shows you that's the item counter for this room. So I'm going to match it up. It just so happens that it's 2, so it's matched up here. Now, because I'm playing solo, any 1s or 2s, when I reveal the exploration tokens, any 1s or 2s are actually just 1s, and any 3s or 4s are actually just 2s. Because I'm the only player playing, I guess they just don't want to overload you, etc. So it's actually going to start at the 1. So I'm going to flip this over here. Tile orientation obviously does not matter in this game, but you're going to rotate your tiles as you search, etc. So we'll do that here in a second. And then I have to put a malfunction token. I just left all the tokens in the insert here. Malfunction token on the tile, and then I'll put this to the side. But now I am in this room. Now I moved, so I have to make a noise check or a noise roll. That's going to be a D10 here, 1 through 4, and then also the let's get that to focus maybe. There we go. The encounter symbol and the miss or all clear symbol, essentially. So we'll go ahead and roll this. 1. So I put a noise token on the corridor that's 1, which is this corridor here. Now that was my 2 actions. For my turn, basically, if another player was playing, this is where they would begin to take another turn. Trying to make sure there's nothing else I have to do for the movements. I made the noise roll. I did this special effect on the token. That's it. Alright, so yeah, at this point, other players would go, and I would be left with 3 cards in my hand. But since I'm the only player, it basically just goes back to me again. So now I have 3 cards, and I have my 2 actions again. I do not draw back up to 8, or back up to 5. You only draw cards at the start of the round. Or, yeah, round. I think that's what this game calls. Yeah, a round. Alright. This might be a good room for me to go, because I need to try to... Not the character corpse with me. I could take it to the surgery room for that objective, or I think there's a research lab. I think that's where we do the intruder weakness. Do I risk? I can move again, or since I have the basic repairs card, I can repair this and be able to use this ability. Or I can search, I guess, right? No, I have to have a card to do that. That's right. It's not a basic action. I think I'm going to go ahead and move again. I'll discard this basic repairs to move, and I'm going to move here. So I'll just put my guy there. Let's see, what is this tile? This tile is the emergency room. I can discard 2 cards to treat all of my wounds. I'll go over that in a minute. It's a green background, so it only takes items from the green deck when I search. And so let me put it over here. And our exploration token says there are 3 items. So in a normal game, get that to focus. Come on, focus. There we go. In a normal game, there would be 3 items, but since it's just me, there's only going to be 2. And then I get slimed, which is not good for the purposes of doing for the all clear. So here's the red arrow for this room, and it's going to start at 2 since there was the 3 there. And I am slimed. So I just take a little status marker here, and there's just these little beads, and that just goes on my slime to indicate that I am slimed. But I am now in this room, and I have 1 action left. So let me look at the rules for that emergency room. So the emergency room allows me to dress all of my serious wounds. And when you dress a wound, if I had a serious wound that was face up, I would flip it face down. So its negative effect no longer affects me, but I still have the serious wound. So I'm only like partially healed. Or I could heal one of my dressed serious wounds. So if I had serious wounds that were actually dressed, I could actually heal them and take them off that way. So it's sort of a 2-step process to get rid of serious wounds. Or I could heal all my light wounds. To get rid of slime, that was what I would look at. There's got to be a way to get rid of slime. There's got to be, right? Well, I'm not seeing anything. Maybe there's a card that allows me to I don't know. We'll see what happens. So I have 1 action left. Or no, I gotta make a noise roll. Sorry about that. So we'll make another noise roll. 1 again. So we'll put a noise token, and see, this room actually has 1 and 2 or this same corridor. So I'm gonna put the noise token here. So if I roll a 1 or a 2 again on this, even if I move back into the room, even though it's already explored, I still have to make the noise roll. And this is simulating, you know, we're moving and we're hearing noises. Not that we're making noise like in, what game is that? Zombicide. You're not making noise. You're hearing noises. And so if you would hear a noise again down this hallway, an encounter would happen. You'd see an alien, etc. So it's a little different from what you might think is actually going on. Alright, so one more action. Can move again. I will. I'll discard rest to move one more into the engine room. Now it's explored, so there's no tokens or anything that go down on it. But I do still have to make a noise roll. It's a 4. So that actually puts a token in the corridor here. 4. So that's my second action for that round, or that turn. Again, this is where somebody else would have a turn. It goes back to me. I only have one card left, so I can take one more action. What can I do in the engine room? I have to discard 2 to check the status. But I can't. I only have one card. I think I'm going to pass at this point, because I really don't need to go anywhere and cause more noise in there. So I'm going to pass, but I'm going to keep this card in my hand, this Nerves of Steel card. That allows me to discard this card to ignore a surprise attack, which I think is pretty powerful. So now we move on to the event phase. So the time marker goes down from 15 to 14. If the self-destruct was active, it would move down 1. Intruder attack happens if there are any intruders on the board sharing the same location as another player. An intruder attack happens. Intruder fire damage happens, which if there's an intruder on the board and they're in a room on fire, they take an injury. Now we resolve 1 event card. So we'll draw the top event card here, and let me pull it up here. Alright. So, intruder movement. So the 2 symbols in the top left are which intruders would move. If there are none on the board, so it does not matter. The 4, I can't recall what that means. I'll look that up in a second. But then the event down the bottom happens. Lurking. Remove all intruders which are not in a room with any character from the board. Put their respective tokens into the intruder bag. So this basically does not do anything for us now, which is okay. But let me look up, see what that number is in the top right. Movement and exploration, encounter and combat. These are all the rooms. Actions, flow of the game, event phase. Here we go. 2. Oh, okay, so that was number 4. That indicates which corridor they actually move when they move. So if there was an intruder here, and that card just came out, and it was one of the intruders on the card, then that intruder would move 1 spot down corridor 4, which is this one, and he'd move over here. There are no intruders out, so this is fine. That's good for us. Now we do the Intruder Bag Development, which means I go to the Intruder Bag here, and there's a bag. There's a bag, and it's got little tokens in it, and it gets seeded at the start of the game with a certain number of tokens, and then there's a number of additional tokens go into it based on how many players are in the game. So I'm going to draw one of these tokens and resolve the effect. Now there's a chart I have to go to here. Let me get that chart open before I draw the token. There we go. Alright. So let's draw a random token here. Alright, so this is the token that I have drawn. I don't know why my camera's not focusing. Anyways, you see it there. That is the adult token. So this says all players roll for noise in order. If a player's character is in combat with an intruder, the player does not perform the noise roll. Then return the adult intruder token to the bag. So we're going to put this token back in the bag. But I have to make a noise roll. So I do not want a 4. If I get a 4, I'm in trouble. If I get a miss, yeah, there's 50-50 chance that something bad's going to happen to me. It's a 3. I'm okay. However, 3 is actually the technical corridor. So this symbol is going to go up there into the technical corridor spot, which I cannot travel to. So that's the event phase. We start a new turn. So I have one hand in my card, one card in my hand. Oh my lord! So I'm drawing 4 cards. 4. One card left over. And let's see what I got here. Alright, I got full auto, which says I discard all ammo from the assault rifle to perform a shoot action, and I deal 1 additional injury for every 2 ammo discarded, even if I miss. It's pretty powerful. I've got covering fire, and it says I can discard 1 ammo, and then move myself and or one other chosen character within my room, as long as they agree, without triggering an intruder attack. So normally, if you're in a room with an intruder and you want to move out of it, they essentially get a free attack against you, which is not good because they're pretty powerful. So this allows me to move me and or a friend with me out of that room with the intruder. I've got demolition. It says destroy 1 closed door in a corridor connected to the room you are in, or place a malfunction marker in the room I am in. So this is a card that allows me to cause more malfunctions around the ship if that was one of the objectives I had to meet. Closed door. So you can, one of these rooms allows you, I think it's a security room, allows you to start shutting doors, and this basically restricts movement. But this card allows me to blow up one of those closed doors. If there's ever a situation where there's an intruder in a room and he gets the card that comes out for the event card, causes him to try to move through a closed door, he does not move, he stays where he's at, but that door is then destroyed. Which means it cannot be closed again, but movement happens between it. So it's a way to sort of control where things are. And then I have search, so I finally got a search card. It reduces the item counter by 1. I draw 2 item cards from the same color of the room I'm in, and then I pick one and discard the other. So those are 4 cards additional to my Nerves of Steel, which I'll just leave right there. So the first thing I want to do is I need to check this engine, so I got to discard 2 cards. And I think I'm going to discard the demolition and the full auto. Demolition and full auto. So it's 2 cards to take this action, and I get to look at these tiles. So normally this would be kept secret from the other players. But let's see, so the top tile was actually damaged. So this engine was busted, and you'll see the bottom tile says it's working. So what I would do is I will put the working tile on top, so it's now the top tile, and I will put them back. Now, if I was playing with other people, I would have to tell them that I switched the order of those, but I would be able to lie about what's on top now. I could say, oh yeah, it's working. Well, I wouldn't be lying at that point, but maybe I'm working with somebody else, and they think that I'm on their side to damage the ship or whatever. I'm not sure. Actually, no. I can't do that. I can only look at what it is. I have to take a repair action in order to actually change it. Oh, that's frustrating. Yeah, repair or break. So I actually didn't need to do... Well, I did, because now I know that this is a damaged engine needs fixed. Well, I guess let's go up here and check out this room. And I'm gonna have to discard covering fire. And I'm gonna move up here. So this room is evacuation section A, and it allows me to enter a escape pod, and I would enter the escape pod. It's section A, which is all the way on the top part of the board there. But I have to discard 2 cards in order to do that. You'll notice this is a white background under the text there as well, which means I can draw from any item deck when I do my search. However, I can't draw one from one and one from the other and then choose one to keep. I have to draw both cards from the same deck. So that's evacuation section A. And then the encounter token says there's 2 items, which means there's only one since I'm solo, and it is malfunctioning. So we'll set this at 1. Here's the arrow, and it just happens to line up with the 1 the way it is. I need another malfunction token. That's going to go there, and then I'm going to go there, and then I have to make a noise roll. Okay, that symbol is bad news. That's the encounter symbol, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just double check. It's the danger symbol. If there is an intruder in the neighboring room, move it to this room. If there are more, so if there was an intruder here, he would move here. If there was an intruder here and here, both of them would move. So, excuse me, all intruders would move into this room that were adjacent. If there are no intruders in any of the neighboring rooms, place a noise marker in each corridor connected to that room. That does not already have a noise marker. So, I gotta place some more noise tokens down here. I think I'm placing 3. So, 1 there, 1 there, 1 there. There's no technical room, otherwise I'd have to place 1 up there, but there's already 1 there. There can only ever be 1 noise token. But it says that do not have them. So normally that would trigger an encounter, but for this here is basically just causes noise everywhere. It's danger. You know, hey, there's an alien bearing down on me probably. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this search card, and there's a 0 for the cost. You guys can't see that. There's a 0 for the cost. Get that a little close up there. 0 for the cost. I'm going to decrease the item counter by 1, which is going to exhaust it, but I'm going to draw 2 from any deck of my choice and keep 1 to pick. So this is going to rotate down to 0 to indicate there's no more items. This can't be searched anymore. I can still search it even though it's malfunctioning, I just can't use the ability. So, do I want a green, yellow, or red? I've got a green and a red already out there, but there's no yellow, so let's pick 2 from the yellow deck. So I draw the top 2 cards from the... It's a wrench. I don't know what the name of that is. The first one is duct tape. Everybody loves duct tape. I can discard the malfunction marker from the room I'm in, so that's another way for me to get rid of that, discarding only 1 card. Or I can repair or break engines in the room I'm in. This is great because this is what I'll do. I'll duct tape that engine, fix it. Or I can add 1 heavy item to 1 heavy item in character's hand, effectively carrying 2 heavy items in 1 hand. So I can discard this with a card to sort of duct tape 2 heavy items together, which allows me to carry 2 of them. That could be powerful as well. The other thing I have is a fire extinguisher. The duct tape here, I'll show the duct tape here first. You'll see it's got the X through the gun at the top, which means it can only be used out of combat. And there's all the stuff that I read to you, and it causes me, if I use this, I discard this card as well as 1 card from my hand. Here's the fire extinguisher. Now, this is a heavy item, so I have to make a choice, because I can only carry 2 heavy items. But if I decide to keep it, I can discard a fire marker in the room I'm in once, or I can use it on an intruder in the room I'm in, and it'll retreat to a adjacent room. So here's the thing. If you drop these cards, these heavy items, they are gone. If you drop the tokens, if I drop this, if I drop one of the eggs, they stay wherever they're at. There's a third. What is the third token? I can't remember what it is. Another corpse, maybe? I don't know. So I could drop that there and keep this fire extinguisher. But I'm not. I'm going to keep the duct tape. So I'm going to keep the duct tape, and it's going right there, and I will discard the item, and that will go face up. Any discards have to be face up for everybody to see, I believe. Let me double check that, because now I'm doubting myself. Searching. It just cards face down. My apologies. You don't have to let anybody know what you got. And I would not let everybody know that I had duct tape. So now I have a problem. I have 1 card left in my hand. I have the Nerves of Steel. Wait a minute, what did I do here? I discarded 2 to look at that. Discarded 1 to move in there. Discarded search to search. So I technically have 1 action left. I can move back, but I have to make another roll that's basically going to guarantee me I have an encounter, which is not going to be good. could try to head that way. I think I'll do that. Now that I have something I can repair, I'm not worry about this one. This will be the one damaged one that's fine with. Ooh, wait a minute, I got armor. I can discard duct tape to get my quest armor. And another card. I will do that. I will do that. And bank that I'm going to be okay over there. We'll see. Alright, I'm discarding duct tape. And a card. I have to discard a card, so I'll get rid of Nerves of Steel. For this quest item. So I'm going to turn this over, and it's armor. And it says, 1 use only. Well, that's not good. That was a waste. I may discard this card after an intruder attack to ignore that attack. I guess it's not terrible. But we'll stick it up there. And then my auto loader I can still have. My duct tape is gone. That was my second action. This is the end of my turn. I can't take any other turns. So now we do the event phase. The time marker moves 1. The self-destruct would move 1 if it was active. Intruders attack, there are none. Intruder fire damage, there is none. I would resolve an event card. There's no intruders, but if there were those 2 types, they would move on the 4th corridor. And then it says noise and technical corridors. Place a noise marker in the technical corridor. If there isn't already one there, but there is. If there is, each character in a room with a technical corridor entrance performs a noise roll. This room that I am in does not have a technical corridor, so I do not perform a noise roll. And now we go back to this bag to do the bag development. So let's grab another one here, see what this one is. This one is just a little larva. So I believe I discard that token and put an adult in there. Let me double check. If I pull a larva, I remove that token from the intruder bag and add 1 adult token to the intruder bag. So I will set this over here and put one of these adults into the bag. There's a whole pile of these tokens you're not seeing on screen. And then that bag goes there. And now I'm back to taking a turn. So I've got 1 card I can draw, so I'll draw that card and then I'm going to shuffle these up. Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That goes there. I already got search, I got basic repairs, I got demolition, I got another search, and I got interruption again. Okay. Can't search in here. I can't use this escape pod. I can. I can move here, and then I got a 50-50 chance of having an encounter. Ooh. I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to move. I think I'm going to use this interruption, discard that, to move 1 to here. So we'll see what this room is. This is surgery. For two cards, discards, I can perform a surgery procedure. If I had a larva inside of me, I would be able to get rid of it, but I have to take an injury, I believe. If I search here, I will get medical items. So let's see what the exploration token says. It says there are 2 items, which means there's only one, and it is broken. It is malfunction. So another malfunction token. Malfunction token. Here's a red arrow. There's only one item, so it's fine the way it is. And I'm in here. I gotta make a noise roll. 1. I put a noise marker in corridor 1, which is here. 1 and 2 are here. 3 and 4 are here. Now I'm going to search. I don't have to discard anything. It's 0. But I only get the medical cards. So let's look at those. 2 of these cards. I've got clothes, which are 1 use only. Oh, these allow me to discard the slime marker. That's good. Or I can dress a serious wound. Or I also have a synthetic food, which draws 2 action cards from my deck. So this allows me to draw basically up to 7 cards. So we'll look at this one here first. Here's the clothes. You'll notice the blue symbol of the cloth up in the upper left. That means that this card can be used for crafting. It's one of 2 cards. You know, one of the you always craft 2 cards into one. So there's one here. And then here's the synthetic food. Come on, focus. There we go. Synthetic food. I think I'm going to keep my clothes and get rid of the synthetic food. So it'll go face down into the discard pile. And now I have synthetic clothes. So that was 2 actions. Again, this is where somebody else will take a turn. But it's back to me. I will discard demolition to move once more to here. This is the generator. Focus. There we go. So, 2 cards, discard 2 cards to initiate or stop the self-destruct sequence. I only get the engineering deck cards. That's what I'll call that deck. There is a computer in the room, though. So, let's put it there. And the encounter token is 4. So it's only two items there, but there's a slime. Now, I'm already slimed, so nothing happens, because I only ever have 1 slime token on me. Which is good that I didn't instantly use this to get rid of that slime, because I would have just gotten slimed again. I was actually worried about that. But I have to roll for noise. 4. So we get a noise token that goes here in corridor 4. And now my second action is going to be to search. And I will search the engineering item deck. And I have tools, which is also a crafting item. I can discard the malfunction marker in the room I'm in. I can repair or break the engines, or I can open and close 1 door in the corridor connected to the room I'm in. The other thing I have is chemicals, and they fully load ammo into a flamethrower. It's also a crafting item, so I have a fire crafting item. if I can get it to focus there. Got fire crafting item, that's the chemicals. And I have the tools, which is a wrench crafting item, or a screwdriver crafting item, rather. Focus. Focus. There we go. So, which one of these do I want to keep? Probably the tools. I will keep the tools. And I will get rid of chemicals. One action left. Oh, this goes down by one because I just searched there. I have one card I can move, which I probably need to do. I will discard it to move to here. This is the hatch control system. It allows me to lock or unlock one escape pod. And it's a all item deck tile. And where did there it is. Exploration token is, 2, which is only 1, and then danger. So this starts at 1. Where is the symbol? It's over here. Alright, so we're at 1. I'm in here. However, I got the danger symbol. The danger symbol says I do not perform a noise roll for this movement. If there is an intruder in the neighboring room, move it to this room. If there are more than one eligible, they all move. There are not. If there are no intruders in any of the neighboring rooms, place a noise marker in each corridor connected to that room. Found a noise marker already in it. So I basically just load up. I got 2. No, I got 3. Woo. Alright, 1 there, 1 there, and 1 there. Okay, and no noise roll. That's the end of my turn. Time passes. Let's see what else happens. Event card. No intruders out, but if they were, those ones would move to 3, or corridor 3 rather. And then it says hatching. Discard 1 egg from the intruder board. Any characters in the nest room whose players have no action cards left are infested by the larva. If no character was infested, put a larva token into the intruder bag. Okay. So, one of these eggs goes away, and then I get a larva into the intruder bag. Now, we draw from the bag and resolve the result, or figure out what happens. What is that? That's another adult token. I believe that goes back in the bag. They should have put this chart on the back of the book. All players roll for noise. Unless you're in combat with an intruder. And then it goes back in the bag. So it goes back in the bag. I roll for noise, which pretty much guarantees me to have an encounter. First encounter of the game. Nope. I rolled the X. Oh, crap. No, this is good for me. This is good. I rolled the X, which would normally mean silence, which means nothing. But since I'm slimed, it actually does this result. But all that result does is cause me to put a noise token anywhere there's not a noise token. But there already is. So basically nothing happens. If I'm reading the rules correctly. I could be doing that wrong, but... And all quiet, yeah, I guess. That's how I interpret it, so. I'm good. Now we're at the next round for me. I draw back up to 5 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the last 5 I've got. Let's see here. Full auto, Nerves of Steel, covering fire, and taking aim. I really need to check those other 2 engines. I'm going to have to take a risk. I'm going to have to move. And I'm going to move. I'm going to discard rest to move. Discard rest. I'm going to move here. And I have to make a noise check. And it's 3. And there's 3. There's already a token there, so we have an encounter. Go to the encounter section. This is the first one. Encounter. Discard all noise tokens adjacent to that room. So this one goes away and this one goes away. Draw an intruder token from the intruder bag. This is bad news. I'm going to draw this one. I drew an adult. Place the intruder miniature in the room. It's our first intruder miniature. Get it focus a little bit. There we go. Looks pretty cool. That's going into that room with me. Compare the number on the intruder token with the number of cards in the player's hand. So, the number on the back of the token was a 3. And I have 1, 2, 3. I have 4 cards left in my hand. If the number of action cards in the player's hand is lower than the number in the intruder token, a surprise attack occurs. So, a surprise attack does not occur. I put the token aside because it may return back to the bag. So this token is for that gentleman right there. And that's all that happens. Okay. Well, this is going to cause a problem. So you can only ever attack an intruder if you're in the same location as it. You can't shoot through corridors, even if it seems like it would make sense. I suppose I should probably try to kill this thing. And I think what I'm going to do is take a big risk. And I'm going full auto. So my full auto card here says I discard all ammo from the assault rifle to perform a shoot action, and I deal 1 additional injury for every 2 ammo discarded, even if I miss. I have 5 ammo, so 5 are going away. So I get 2. I'm doing 2 injuries for sure to him, plus whatever I roll. So my ammo's gone though, completely gone off my card. So I get a combat dice. There's a couple symbols on this combat dice. That hits an adult, I believe. Yes. That only hits a larva or a creeper. That deals 2 damage regardless of what it is. That deals 1 damage regardless of what it is. That is obviously a miss. So, here's the thing. I don't know how much damage it takes to kill this guy. until I draw an attack or a card after I've already attacked. I think. Let me look here. Yeah, whenever they're injured. So larvas or creepers get killed pretty much instantly. They only take one hit. But the bigger guys, we don't know how much damage they're going to take until I draw a card after they've taken injuries to see if it actually kills them. So I'll show you how this goes. All right, so we're going to roll here. Come on. Yes. All right, 2 injuries. Plus the 2 for full auto. Plus my assault rifle says every time I deal at least 1 injury, I deal an additional injury. So I'm actually doing 5 damage to this guy. 2 for the roll, 2 for the full auto card, and 1 more for the additional for the assault rifle itself. So 5 damage. So he took at least 1 injury. So what happens? I draw this Intruder Attack card. Oh. And this Intruder Attack card, all we care about in this attack is the number in the upper left, and it says 5. That's how much health he has. So I believe I've killed him. I think it's equal to or greater than. If the number in the blood icon is equal to or lower than the current number of injury markers on the intruder, it is killed. So I killed it. I killed it. And then this gets discarded, or that intruder attack card gets killed it. So there's 5 tokens on it, and it's dead. And it goes away, but where is the? I think there's a token that goes in its place. I thought. Yes. Yeah, one of these tokens. That's the other heavy object. That's the intruder carcass. That's what I was thinking of. So I killed it, but I'm all out of ammo. So I can't really attack again. So that was a move. Pull that back. That was a move. And then my attack, my full auto. Now other people would have a chance to attack. There's no other people, or a chance to take a turns rather. Sorry. So it's back to me. I think I just need to keep moving, unfortunately. And I'll just discard taking aim. I'm not going to pick this up. I'll just leave this here. I'm going to go over here. Now, the one thing I need to do, I think that token that I set aside from earlier just stays away. Yep. So that token is now permanently out. Alright, so I'm moving here. Let's see what this room is. This is the shower room. I bet this gets rid of slime. Discard 2 to take a shower, and it's a all item deck tile. And the exploration token says there's 1 item, which for me just means there's 1 item. And there's an X, which means there's nothing happens. That's great. So that's set to 1 item, and I'm in there. Now, I need to check to see if I make a noise roll or not. Yep, do not perform. Oh, wait a minute, though. I'm slimed. If the character has a slime marker, it does the danger instead. Oh, man. That's not good. So the danger is the one where I have to put a noise token everywhere there's not a noise token. I need to get rid of this. So that's, yeah. I should have done that. I thought about using my clothes to get rid of that, but what's this shower do? If I have a slime marker on my character board, I discard it. Additionally, I can choose to scan all contamination cards in my hand and remove all non-infected cards. If at least one of those cards is infected, the larva, I now know I'm infected, basically. What can I craft? Clothes and fire is the only thing that makes a Molotov cocktail. I think I'm just going to use my clothes with covering fire. So clothes say I have to discard a card, and I get rid of my slime marker. So I'm going to discard covering fire and discard the clothes to get rid of the slime, because that was bad. And now I'm going to move again. Oh, there's a surgery room. I should have dropped it there. Not paying attention. Oh, I had to choose one of these. So that first time that came out, that was the first miniature that came out, I had to choose one of these objective cards. Oh man, it's all the way over there. I should have dropped it. I'm still going to go for it. Emergency Postmortem, that's the one I'm choosing to stick with, where I have to take my blue corpse and token and put it in the surgery room, which I was there. I wasn't paying attention. And then, so this card actually goes away. This other objective, which I'm not going to do. So, yeah. Nerves of Steel to move, right? Yeah. We're going to go over here. And this tile is storage. I can get combat items there. I can search for an item for 2. So, that's pretty decent. And the encounter token is, so there's 4 items, which means there's only 2 for me, and there's a door. So I gotta figure out what that does. So this gets set to 2, which it is right there. The door symbol. Oh, the door shuts behind me, essentially. So there's a door that closes here. And I roll for noise for the movement. Nothing happens. I don't have any slime. So it's actually silent, which is great. And then I'm done. So time passes. Intruders attack, there are none. Fire damage, none. I resolve an event card. If that intruder was still on the board, it actually would move. And it would move down corridor 3, but there is none. So let's just go to the text here. Evacuation pod ejection. Remove 1 escape pod token with the lowest number. Remove this event from the game and reshuffle the events deck, including the discard pile. Alright, so this goes away. Number 1 is actually the lowest numbered one, so this escape pod is jettisoned. This event is gone, and I take the events and the event deck and the discard pile and shuffle them up. Give them a good shuffle here. And now we go to the bag here and draw our token, our Intruder Bag Development. Draw this one. It's a larva, which basically means this goes away. No, wait, that's not a larva. What is that? That's a creeper. What happens with the creeper? Let's see here. Again, they really should have put this chart on the back of the rule book. I do not see it. I do not see it anywhere. So during your creeper, remove the token from the intruder bag and add 1 breeder token. Alright, so actually that does stay out. So that stays out. And a breeder token goes in. Those guys sound like bad news. Alright. And now I gotta shuffle my discard deck up. And draw a hand of 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, I got an interruption again. Search, full auto, demolition, and basic repairs. I think I am going to search first. I still have to discard that, right? I would assume so. Yeah, discard this card and pay the cost. So search. This goes down by 1, and I get 2 of the red items. And I get to pick one and discard the other one. I have energy charge, which allows me to fully load ammo into my energy weapon, or open and close one door in a corridor I'm connected to. Or I have extended magazine, adds 2 ammo to one of my energy weapons. From now on, this weapon has +2 ammo capacity. Those are both really good. But I'm going to hang on to the energy charge, and that's going to go there. And I'm going to discard that one. Now I have a screwdriver and a battery symbol for things I can craft, which allows me to craft a taser. Let me look at what a taser actually does. So 1 use only. I choose 1 intruder in the room and it suffers 1 injury and retreats. Or 1 chosen character in the room you are in must discard all cards from their hand. So that's another kind of screw your neighbor weapon. Yeah, but it's only 1 use, so I don't know how useful that really is. I think what I need to do is take the action. I'll do interruption to use this to fully recharge my assault rifle. That's 2 actions. This is the point where somebody else would have an action, but there's nobody else here. So I'm going to discard Demolition to move here. Go to roll for noise. 2. There's already 1 there, so I have an encounter. First, all this goes away. So that 1 goes away. Now I draw a token from the bag. After I give it a good shake, since I just put that breeder token in there, that would be bad if I got that guy. Let's go in here. Let's go with this one. And it's a larva. So I think there's larvas, miniatures for them, maybe? Maybe not. Let's see what happens. See the intruder board. It's a larva. I did not see any larva miniature. Oh, here they are. Little larvas. 2 of them. How quaint. So I got a little larva there with me. The number on the back of the token is 1. So I have 2 cards in my hand, which is more than 1, which means there's no surprise attack. And then this token just gets set aside. Now, only takes 1 to kill this thing. So I'm going to yeah, I'm going to discard basic repairs to make an attack. So I can shoot it, and I use as 1 ammo, so I take 1 ammo. And I'm going to roll the combat dice, and I basically have to get anything but a blank in order to kill it. Okay, so that's enough to kill it. I rolled that symbol right there. That kills it. It is dead. Its token is out of the game. Its miniature goes back into the box. And I get a... Does the corpse come out? No. Intruder carcass does not come out. It only comes out for the big guys. Okay. Now I have 1 action left. Which I'm going to just hang on to. Hang on to my full auto card. I believe I can hang on to any cards after I pass. They may discard any number. May discard any number. So I'm going to hang on to that guy. End of round. This goes down to 10. Intruders, nothing. Event. If there are any intruders of those two types, they would move to corridor 3, but it says scent of prey. Place a noise marker in every corridor connected to a room containing a character with a slime marker, except corridors that already have noise markers. Nobody is slime, which is me, so nothing happens. And then we have a bag event. Let's draw this one. It's the blank. It's blank on both sides. So what happens? Again, this chart should be on the back of the book. Add one adult intruder token to the intruder bag, and then return the blank to the bag. So the blank goes back into the bag. Another intruder token goes back into the bag, and we give it a good mix and shuffle, and done. Now, 5 cards. I've already got one in my hand, so 2, 3, 4, 5. I got Nerves of Steel, Search, Covering Fire, and Rest. I'm going to discard Rest. And Covering Fire to look at this token. It is working. So I checked the engine and it was green and good to go. And I did not have to waste I could have wasted tools. I could have discarded one card to pick up both tokens and then rearrange them in the order I want. But it would have been, I would have wasted this at that point. So I'm glad I did not do that. Now, so that one's good. I'm going to go check engine 3. So I'm going to discard full auto to move 1 here. Roll for noise. 1, which puts a noise marker there. I can search. I will search. I'm going to search since I have the card. Might as well. Only the military cards. I got comms key. So 1 use only. If I'm in a room with a computer that does not have the malfunction symbol on, or it isn't the malfunction token, if I'm in a room with a computer, look at the objective card of one character with a signal marker on their character board. So they would have to have the signal marker would have to be covered over with a status token. But that's kind of useless for me, so I'm probably not going to pick that one. The other one is energy charge, which allows me to fully reload my energy, or open or close a door in a corridor connected. So I'm going to keep that one and get rid of the comms key, since it's basically useless for me in a one-player game. And then this actually gets down to 0, so that's been completely searched. And I'm going to use my last action, Nerves of Steel, to move to here. I have to roll for noise, not a 1. Anything but a 1. It's a all silent, and I do not have slime, so it does not trigger the danger, which is good. And then I'm done. So then this time passes to 9. We draw an event. If there were any of those tokens or those intruders out there, they'd move to corridor 1. But we do regeneration, which says each intruder on the board heals 2 injuries. There are no intruders on the board, so nothing happens. But we'd have to do the bag. The bag development. Let's draw this one. This one right here. It's an adult. And what happens with an adult is the token goes back into the bag, and every player makes a noise roll. 3. technical corridor. There's already one there, so there's an encounter. Right? Or wait a minute, maybe that doesn't, maybe there's no encounter. Let's see. Again, this chart should be on the back of the book. Yep, noise. Yep, roll for noise, which means there's an encounter. So, this goes away, and then the technical corridor one goes away as well. But, I have an encounter. And I think I was supposed to wait and put that back in the bag until after the noise roll. Oh well. Stuff happens, right? Alright. Larva. Probably one of the better things that could happen. That just gets set aside. Have a little larva token come out. He's sitting right there with me. Oh, the back of him. One, and I have no hands, no hands in my card. I have no cards in my hand, which means he gets a surprise attack. This little larva has surprise attack. So what happens during a attack? Intruder Attack. Choose the character who is the target of the attack. That's me. If there's more than one character, they always attack the character with the fewest action cards. That's still me. Well, in case of a surprise attack, the character who triggered the encounter gets attacked. Draw and resolve an Intruder Attack card. Okay. So this is the card I drew. We do not care about the number during the attack in the top left. What we care about is the symbol in the any symbols in the middle. That symbol does not match the larva symbol, so this does not happen. And this card would actually only attack if it was drawn for a queen. So there's no attack, or the attack misses essentially. And now it's my turn to draw up to 5. I have one card here. Shuffle my discard deck. Kind of wish there were cards you could get to shuffle in here, though, other than like the bad action cards. It almost might be like if you crafted the card, the crafted card would go into your deck. Because like a taser, a one-use taser, I mean, I get that you're crafting it yourself, but it's still, I don't know. I wish there was a little bit more of a deck building element to this game. At this point. It's still fun. Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, I have take aim, interruption, search, demolition, and covering fire. Well, I can discard interruption and demolition to look, because I might not want to. I might not want. I mean, at this point, I could just waste this and rearrange those anyways. Wait a minute. No, I don't believe I can take that action since that intruder is there, right? Pretty sure I can't. Yep. Cannot perform a room action if you're in combat. So I'll just use one of my ammo to attack that guy. And again, as long as I don't roll a blank, I'm good. That symbol's good enough to do 1 damage, which kills him. And then his token actually gets discarded from the game as well. That goes over there. Now, I'd have to discard I'll do Interruption to make that attack. Now I will discard Demolition and Covering Fire. So 2 cards to actually search, or to actually look at the top of this. It is damage, so it would have paid me, because I still have to use that. So my next action is going to be to discard taking aim to use these tools to repair or break the engine. So I will take this. Again, this is the point where if I was playing with other people, I would pull these 2 back, rearrange them in an order that I wanted them on. I want the green on top for me, and then put them back. I would have to tell them that I actually rearranged the order, but I would not have to tell them what's actually on top. Or I could lie about it, essentially. So that gets discarded because I used it. I have 1 action left, which is Search, which I guess I might as well use to move here. Let's see what this is. Oh, this is the Armory. This allows me to discard 2 to recharge my energy weapon to full. Allows me to search for military weapons or military items. The exploration is 1, so I get 1 item, and it is malfunctioning. So the red item is there, so there's 1 item in the room. It is malfunctioning. So put a malfunction item there. That goes away. And roll for noise. 4. Noise marker goes here. And I'm done. This goes down to 8. We've just passed into the blue on the time track, so the escape pods are all unlocked now, which there's only 1 left. I think what I'm going to do, I need to get back here to the surgery room, and then I just need to go and hibernate again. Because my engines are good. I don't have any contamination cards yet. I don't think anything's happened that would have caused me to take 1. It just says I get it, so nothing's caused me to take a contamination card yet, so so that moves down. That unlocked events. Had that larva still been out there on the board, it would have then moved to 3. So it was here, and 3 is the technical corridor. So it would have moved off the board. Essentially, its token would have gone back in the board, and its miniature would have came off the board, and any wounds it had would have gone away. It only takes 1 wound anyways to kill it, so it wouldn't have mattered. But if it had been an adult, the wounds would have gone away, and it would have gone back into the bag to come out later, fully healed. So, this says Nest. If the nest room is explored, place a noise marker in each corridor that is connected to the nest. Do not place a noise marker if one is already present. The nest is not explored, so nothing happens. But we do have a bag development. So let's pick something out of here. Let's see here. We have an adult. Let's see, adult stays out of the bag, but I make a noise roll. Every player makes a noise roll. Ooh, this is not good. I got a 2 and a 2 only. 3. Alright, we have an encounter. So this adult stays out of the bag for right now. These 2 are going to go away. I'm going to draw another token. See what I run into. It's an adult. I have no cards in my hand. This does not matter because it's 4. And then the other adult token goes back into the bag. Adult comes out right here and gets an attack on me. So we draw, or a surprise attack, because 4 to no cards. We draw an Intruder Attack card. Again, we don't care about the number in the top left. We do care about the symbols in the middle. The adult symbol is there. That's the one to the far left. And then it says bite. If the character has 2 serious wounds, they die, which I do not. If not, they suffer 1 serious wound. So I draw a serious wound from the serious wound deck. And it says hand. Get it to focus. The cost of all your item actions is increased by 1. That's not good. So this is a serious wound. I'll just set it right here. Okay. And then back to me. 5 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Full auto's already out, I think. Basic repairs, nerves of steel, rest, search, and oh no, here's full auto. If I try to escape, he gets a free attack, I believe. Let me look at that. Character escape. Yep, resolve an intruder attack. Covering fire is gone. That's one I already used. I'm in the army right now, though. I could use... Alright. Alright, here's what's going to happen. I'm discarding rest to use my energy charge, which allows me to fully load back up my ammo. All my item actions. That's this. That's an item. So I have to discard a second one. It's going to have to be Nerves of Steel. Okay. Now I'm going full auto. This is not an item. This is an action. So this does not cost me 1 additional one. I discard all my ammo, so that's 5. So I'm doing 2 damage plus whatever I roll. Actually, yeah. If you do at least 1 injury, which I'm going to. So I'm doing 3 injuries right now, plus whatever I roll. So let's hope I roll the double hits. Ooh, miss. Nothing. So, normally I would get nothing, but this says even if I do miss, I deal 1 additional injury for every 2 ammo, so that was 5, so it rounds down to 2, plus this one because I dealt at least 1, so 3. So now we draw, so he gets 3. He gets 3 wounds. Now I draw an Intruder Attack and hope that the number in the top left is 3 or less. It's not, it's 4. That just goes to the discard pile, and nothing happens. So, it's back to me again. I can't attack. I could have used that armor to ignore that attack, but the only thing I can do is melee attack. But melee attack is bad, bad, because if I roll the larva or creeper symbol, if I roll the creeper symbol or the miss, I get a serious injury, a serious wound. But I think I'm going to have to do it anyways. Basic repairs, make a melee attack. Hit. So I do one injury. So now he's at 4, so we draw another Intruder Attack. And this time it says 6, so he's still not dead. I guess I'm going to have to go one more. Another melee attack. Discard my search card. Melee attack. 1 hit. So now he's at 5. So now we draw another Intruder Attack card. This one is 3, so he's dead. Because 6 is greater than 3. So he dies. He leaves behind a corpse token. And I don't have to fight him. What's this autoloader do? I can add it to the rifle. Ooh, that's pretty good. Alright. Alright, so this goes down by 1. Event. Nothing's moving. Hatchling Hatching. Discard 1 egg from the intruder board. Any characters in the nest room who have no action cards left are infested. No character was infested. Put a larva token into the intruder bag. Alright, so 1 nest token comes off, or 1 egg comes off the nest. 1 larva token goes into the bag. This guy was killed. His token goes away. And now we have a bag development. It's an adult, which means noise check. 1. And then he goes back in the bag. And now I gotta shuffle these cards and draw back up to 5 cards. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Basic repairs: search, rest, interruption, and taking aim. I just need to start moving. What I can do is use interruption and rest, I can discard 2 cards to take my careful movement, which means when I move over to here, I get to choose where I put the noise token, and I will choose to put it over there in the technical room, because it will be 3. Then I can discard basic repairs to move 1 more. This time I will roll for noise. Two. That puts a noise token there. Then I will discard taking aim to move 1 here. Roll for noise. 4, which is the technical corridor, and we have an encounter. So this goes away, and this goes away. I draw a token from the bag. Oh, that right there is the symbol for the queen. 4. So she gets a surprise attack. That's just great. So let's get the queen out here on the board. There she is in all her glory. She gets a free attack, or a surprise attack. It's a claw attack. The character suffers 2 light wounds and gets 1 contamination card. So, I'll take another token. I'm on 2 light wounds, and I get a contamination card. And that's just this card, and it goes right on top of my action discards here. I'm gonna use. I gotta flee. Search. I'm moving here. Before I do that, she gets a free attack, which she does, and it says all characters in the room who have at least 2 serious wounds die. Any other characters in this room suffer 1 serious wound. But I'm going to use my armor. 1 use only, and discard this card after an intruder attack to ignore that attack. So I'm going to ignore this attack. And I no longer have that armor. But I fled. Now, do I have to make a noise roll? Because I fled. Yep, perform a noise roll. There's probably going to be another encounter. 2. Nope. Just goes right back there. But at this point, I'm done. This goes to 6. Intruders move. So we draw the, how does that work? Intruder attack, nothing. Oh no, intruder fire damage, okay. Let's look. Each intruder in combat with a character attacks them. There's not in combat. Nothing's on fire. We draw an event card. Oh, that's what causes everything to move. That's right. So, first thing that happens is on the event card is the intruder movement. The symbol, if I can get this thing to focus. The symbol up there, there is the Queen symbol, the far right. She moves corridor 4. Corridor 4 is the technical corridor, which means she goes off and she's off the board. Her token goes back into the bag and she's off the board. But it says consuming fire. Set item counter to 0 in each room with a fire marker. There's no fire markers. Place a fire marker in each room neighboring a room with a fire marker. There are none. Fire does not spread through closed doors or technical corridors. So basically nothing happens and it got rid of the Queen. Well, I didn't get rid of her. She just ran away, essentially. Alright, and then the bag development. Shuffle here. Let's go for that one. It's an adult noise roll, which is gonna fail unless it's a no. I'm gonna have an encounter regardless, unless I get a X or X or the other one. Oh, it is that one. Danger. Noise goes everywhere there's not already a noise token. That goes back in the bag. I think I'm doing that right. Noise goes everywhere there's not already a noise token. Yep. And then I draw back up to my hand of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I will discard Nerves of Steel to move to here. Noise check. 2. Have an encounter. It's a larva. The number on the back is a 1, and I still have 4 cards in my hand, so it does not get a surprise attack. I just drop items. Is that an action? What? Drop. Character may freely drop any item, object from their hands. So I will drop this into surgery. Let's check on something here. This is not going to be good. Alright, so I can do a melee attack against this thing by discarding one card. It'll be full auto. As long as I don't roll a blank, I'll be okay. I'm good. That thing is dead. Its token goes away. I will go ahead and search 2 green items. They're both in. I got 2 of the same. Adrenaline injection. It says draw 1 card. You may play all your actions in this single round. Then you must pass. So I can basically do everything real quick at once. And then this is down to 0. Demolition to move to here. Checking for noise. Danger. 1 there. And then 1 in the technical corridor. Keep going. Move there. Noise. 4 triggers and counter. It's another adult. It's at 2, so it's going to get a free attack. And it does attack at scratches. The character suffers 1 light wound and gets 1 contamination card. So I get another contamination card, which goes on top of my deck. And then I get 1 light wound, which gives me a serious injury. And this serious injury is body. Come on, focus. Go. It says I only draw 4 action cards instead of 5. Now it's the end of the turn. This goes down to 5. He gets another attack. A claw attack, suffers 2 light wounds and gets a contamination card. So then that goes back to 2. I get another contamination card. It goes on top of my deck. We draw an event card. He does not move. He does not move anyway because he's in combat with me. And it says Eclosion. Each character with a larva on their character board dies. Each character draws 4 cards from their deck and scans all drawn contamination cards. If they have at least 1 infected card, a larva goes on their character card. And then discard the drawn cards. 4 cards. Alright, so I gotta shuffle these up. Drawing 4 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4. I drew 1 contamination card. So I take the scanner here. I'll show you how this works. Got the scanner. Put the contamination card in the scanner. I don't know if you can read that or not. Doesn't look like anything says infected to me. So I'm good. These 4 get discarded. And now we have a bag event. going to be this one. It's an adult. Make a noise roll. I'm in combat, so I don't make a noise roll. And that just goes back into the bag. And I draw 5 cards. It's my turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh no, I draw 4 cards. Because of my body injury. I discard taking aim to move to here. They get a free attack. It's a bite. If a character has 2 serious wounds, they die. I do. Dead. Get that focused. If the character has 2 serious wounds, they die. If not, they suffer 1 serious wound. I do have 2 serious wounds, so I'm dead. And that finishes the game for me. So I would die trying to escape. It's a fun game. If I had been paying attention, I could have dropped this here when I ran through here and not had to circle back through it, which would have stopped me from spawning the queen here, this guy here. I probably would have had a lot better, because I would have could have checked these engines, made sure they were okay, fixed that one, and then continued up this path to try to find the other tile that has the evacuation, and to get into pod B here to escape. I could have hibernated. However, I was reading the rules that unless the ship goes back to Earth, then anybody who's hibernating dies. So we were currently going to B. Let's look and see where that would have taken us. It would have taken us to Earth, so I would have been okay if I would have hibernated. If I would have hibernated, we know that one contamination card was okay. Let me check the other ones. I think I had 2 more in there. Yeah, I had 2 more contamination cards. Let me just check them real quick and see. If I would have been infected, I would have died if I would have been in hibernation. This one's okay. And this one's okay. So I would have been safe. So I would have won if I would have just risked it and hibernated instead of trying to find the other thing. So I could have won a while ago. But I didn't know I would have won. I would have gotten just really, really lucky. I like this game. It's a lot of fun. I think I want to play it with more players, obviously. There is a variant where one player can play as the intruders, but right now I had a lot of fun playing this, and it might replace level 7 Omega Protocol for my space dungeon crawl top game. All the cards are sleeved, and they do fit inside of that scanner pretty well. I don't know how well this thing's going to hold up, but we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. It's basically just glued on the 2 opposite edges, so I'm not sure how long that thing will last, but we'll find out. Gameplay was fun. I enjoyed it. Like I said, I wish there was more of a deck building aspect to your hand of cards. Maybe there were, if you crafted something, it would go into your hand and you would have it to use, or there were item cards that you could find, search, that go into your deck that you could use. maybe you had a choice. Maybe you could get the smaller cards, or you got a card that would go into your deck that would come out randomly, but it would be maybe you could use it twice or 3 times or something like that. I don't know how you keep track of that, but I just wish there was a little more deck building aspect to this than just you have your 10 cards and then the only thing you could get are bad cards into your hand. Because once you get these contamination cards, if you draw them, they're useless. You cannot spend these, like how this says, discard 1 card. You can't discard this as a discarded card. Sorry, you can't see. Like this says, discard 1 card to use this. You can't discard a contamination card. It's just that it just eats up a spot in your deck. So, like if you draw 3 contamination cards into your 5 card hand, you've only have 2 cards you actually use. Those other ones just get discarded after you pass, or they force you to pass, which could also be a problem. We didn't really see that aspect because I was the only one playing, and I was able to take all my actions until I passed, basically, until I was forced to pass. Didn't bother trying to get the Intruder Weaknesses. The one Intruder Weakness says the way of moving, intruders other than the Queen and breeders cannot destroy closed doors. So that's that would have allowed me to close doors and not have to worry about them breaking through them. The other one, or one of the other ones, was any energy weapon attack that deals at least 1 injury deals an additional injury. That's pretty good. That was for the egg. And for the intruder carcass was if an adult intruder attacks you with a bite, it deals a light wound instead of a serious wound. That's pretty powerful. Those are pretty. I thought they were going to be a lot. Those weakness cards were going to be a lot less game changing, but I guess they're not really. But that serious wound, light wound to serious wound, is pretty powerful. Okay, yep. I'm going to stop the stream here. Again, this was Nemesis by Awakened Realms. Solo playthrough. Try to get maybe a 3 or 4 player playthrough going sometime soon.